Hello, my name's Simon Hill and I'm the Archdeacon of Taunton. That means that I work within the Diocese of Bath and Wells, covering the particular area down from Exmoor up to beyond Bridgewater and over to Chard and Crewkerne as well. And it's a role that involves seeing vicars, working with church buildings, congregations and communities, and also church schools. And it's always a great delight to meet with our school's advisors and hear about the good things going on across the Taunton Archdeaconry as well as the wider diocese in our schools. One of the roles that I've got at the moment is chairing a group of people looking at the qualities that we want in a new Bishop of Bath and Wells. We've currently got a vacancy. And I was delighted that well over 1,000 of our young people and children took part in a questionnaire about the sorts of qualities that they were looking for in a new bishop. You listed all sorts of different things about kindness and care and love, and a care for the environment being really, really important. I'm not sure that anyone said the word courage, which is what we're thinking about today. But courage is probably something that is really important for a bishop. Courage to speak honestly, courage to challenge people when they're going against God's will, courage to make difficult decisions that as a church we're going to face in the future. The story of courage that we focus on is from the Old Testament. It's from David and Goliath in the book of Samuel. A story about a very big man, essentially a giant, and a very small man, really a boy, the boy David and the giant Goliath. Now, when there are sporting contests today, people are matched up against somebody of a similar size. When somebody's boxing or a sport like that, they don't play against somebody much smaller or much bigger themselves, or it wouldn't be fair. The larger person would almost inevitably win because they were at such an advantage. To make things fair, you have different grades of weight and size in order to match people up. That wasn't the case with David and Goliath. There, it was a very big man, a giant, Goliath, matched up against a very small boy, David. Goliath was the big person in an army who were fighting against God's people. And he was so big that nobody really wanted to fight against him. He's depicted on the Bible mat that you've got an option to draw and colour in and reflect on this week. David, a small shepherd boy, offered to fight against Goliath. He used his sling and stones to swing those stones around and then throw them essentially at Goliath. And Goliath was killed. There's a picture of David slinging a stone, and there's a picture of the effect, rejoicing that he has defeated the enemy of God. In order to do that, David needed enormous courage. He needed to know that God would defend him. He needed to know that he was on the side of right. And he stood up for what he believed in. And in a special way was able to defeat a giant. Now, no one is going to advocate that we go and fight against somebody, and particularly that we don't go and fight against somebody much bigger than ourselves. And the lesson of the story is not about fighting in that way, but I think about having courage and knowing that God is with us. Courage is important in all sorts of different ways. I wonder how you can be courageous through this week ahead. It might be shown in sometimes not simply going with the crowd. It might be through you standing up for somebody who is being treated badly. It might be going the extra mile when that isn't an easy thing to do. There's a song that you may sometimes have sung at school. Be bold, be strong, for the Lord our God is with you. having courage is really important. Being ready not to be pushed about and for bad things to happen, but to stand up for what we believe in, so that hopefully good things can happen. David, a small boy, was able to defeat a big man. Sometimes it's not people that we're up against, but issues. Sometimes something can feel very difficult that we face in our lives. It can be as if there's a big boulder in the path that we're walking along. We can't seem to get round it. It feels impossible. Courage can help us, as well as perhaps realizing that bit by bit we can address an issue. It doesn't need to all be in one go. Sometimes being courageous is realizing that if we take the right steps in the right direction, bit by bit, we will be able to step forward. So, as we remember David, as we remember Goliath, let us think particularly of those people who face big issues, big problems, things that loom large in their lives. And if that's you or a friend of yours, let's hope that you can have courage to address the issue that's there. So let us end our time of collective worship in a prayer. God, David was a courageous boy who, through your support, was able to defeat the giant Goliath. Help us to know that you are with us, and for us to be courageous so that we can follow you, be bold and be strong. Amen. So I hope that as you look at Goliath and David and colour them in on your sheet, you'll be able to think how you can be more courageous this week and wonder what from that story you may be able to take forward into the week ahead and on beyond there. God bless.